Hey everyone, PSK2329 back with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about something I don't think anybody talks about. When you go to YouTube, when you're doing research on becoming a trader, here's something that I've learned that I don't think anybody's talking about, but every new trader should know. So let's get right into it. Based on my journey, I'm going to share with you a few things. If you're a new trader, brand new to trading, you're newer, you're maybe only been trading less than a year, this video is for you because I want to share a few things that nobody ever talks about. You don't see it anywhere, yet I think it's something everybody should know, and it's something that most people just learn the hard way. If you make it and you become a successful day trader, you just learn it through the school of hard knocks. But, you know, in my journey, just coming up in a year and 6 months now, the thing I've learned through being through 4 different chat rooms is everybody's trying to sell you their services and they're trying to tell you how great trading the market is. And I do agree. I love what I do. I mean, I absolutely love doing this. But the one thing I can tell you that they don't is that this is hard. This is not easy. And I think that people are doing the industry a disservice by not being more transparent, being more honest, and saying you need to have a proper mindset and expectations going into trading. And what I mean is, if you think about becoming a professional poker player, how long do you think, if you just started today, never played poker before, how long would it take you to become on the World Series of Poker? You know, be in Vegas, be in those big shows. How long would it take you to be a successful poker player? How much money would you lose before you were, you know, winning the big jewelry and the big prizes? My guess is probably a few years. So why do people jump into trading and then get frustrated after a couple months and saying, why am I not making hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars? So I think that people have the wrong mindset and really false expectations on how long it takes to become a successful, profitable trader and what your mindset needs to be. So in my opinion, your mindset should be treating this just like if you were going to become a professional poker player, if you're going to become a doctor, if you were going to college. You need to look at this long term and realize my first year or 2 or maybe even 3, it's not about making money. It's about learning. It's about absorbing as much information as I can. You know you're going to take a few losses along the way. Know that you're going to have highs and lows, but especially your first year, it should be nothing but being a sponge. It should not be about the money at all. It should be strictly about learning the industry, learning the market, learning charts, learning all the terminology, jumping in and out of chat rooms, watching YouTube videos or watching videos, just absorbing as much information as you can and just putting in countless hours in front of the monitor, just watching level 2, watching chart setups, because, you won't become a successful trader until you can accomplish a few things. And you can see it here on the screen. When you can have consistent wins that are either small, medium, or large on a daily basis, in and out, with small losses or break even or even no losses, and then when you can avoid the big loss, because when you can master all 3 of those things, that means you're understanding the market, you're understanding the chart setups, you're understanding price action, you're waiting for confirmation, you're not anticipating, you've got great risk reward, you have a strategy, you understand the psychology of other traders, and you got your emotions and your discipline in check. And you can see the next bullet is called life of a trader. And I truly think this is how it happens is your first year or first 2 years, you're just trying to learn the strategy. You know, you're at the basics. You're just trying to understand the strategy. And then you get a little better. And now you're starting to understand strategy and risk management. And then it gets a little more advanced. Now you're understanding strategy, risk management. And you're starting to learn some of the psychology of the market, and just kind of what longs and shorts are thinking. And then when you're really, and this is kind of, I think I'm in between bullet 3 and 4, is when you can really start to have a strategy that you know works for you, because there's tons of them out there. And nobody can say this is the best one, or, it's whatever works for you and whatever you're comfortable with. I've seen so many in my year and a half doing this that it really opened my eyes to say, there's no one way to do this. There's tons of different ways. But once you can understand a strategy that you've identified works for you, you understand risk management, and you're able to have consistent wins, and you're understanding the psychology of the other traders in the market, but then you're able to bring in the macro and the micro picture of just the economy, the market, and understanding, trends and what's going on and how that impacts what's going on as far as overall trading. When we're talking about things like institutional moving averages, tariffs, you're able to identify sectors that are moving because of certain things, and you like going into earnings, you're like, hey, I know this sector is doing really well. I think they're going to beat on earnings. There's a lot more to it, and you don't know all of that in the beginning. And I don't think anybody talks about that. And I think it's a huge disservice. So I wanted to make this video because I think if you're struggling, it's because you have the wrong mindset. You have the wrong expectations. And maybe you're only at bullet 1 and you think you're at bullet 4 because you don't know any better. And that's okay. Hopefully this video will help open your eyes a little bit to say, hey, maybe I do have false expectations. Maybe I am pushing this too hard because you're trying to sit at the World Series of Poker and you haven't even made it out of your neighborhood pool tournament. So try to reevaluate where you're at and where you think you should be to maybe see if you need to reset your expectations. The other thing I want to talk about is just chat rooms in general. And then, you hear the term furus thrown out all the time. In my short time doing this, like I said, I've been in and out of 4 chat rooms. I actually, I'm in awesomecalls.com now, and I probably will be forever. I think it's my home. It's where I've learned the most. It actually is more of an education type atmosphere rather than just giving you hot alerts. That's not what they're about. So I encourage you to come check it out for a day or a week. But you should try other chat rooms, as many as you can, just to absorb as much information as you can and learn from other traders, because there's a lot of good traders out there, and I think there's 1 or 2 things you can pick up from all of them, or even you can pick up what's bad about them and what kind of scam they're actually running, because there's so many furus out there. And I want to give you an example. Like I follow some of these people on Twitter, and the other day VVPR was one of those hot alerts, and hold on here. I'm going to try to bring this into the screen if I can. Actually, here, I'm going to have to pull it up over here. But anyways, VVPR was one of those small cap runners where you have the furu in the room who's yelling out, hey, this is going to be the runner. I'm long. It's you should get in now, whatever you want to say. But I'm just trying to pull up the chart for you here. But let me show you what it looked like a couple days ago. But anyways, the thing about chat rooms and furus is you should never follow anybody's alerts ever. You should make your own trades based on your setups, your strategy, your risk reward. And what I mean is that if you're in a chat room and you know, the guru or furu, whatever you want to call them, puts out an alert, hey, I'm long here. I see so many times where people just chase it. They jump in, they end up getting burned. You know, the furu has put in his order way in advance, and you're trying to chase it on the run up. You end up getting stopped. You end up buying at the top, and then, you know, you get out for a loss. And I'm trying to show you an example of that VVPR here. See if I can pull up the daily, but never ever do that. You know, you're gonna get burned every single time. And let me see if I can show you an example here. This isn't a great example, but anyways, this is an example of a chart of one of those looks like. So on this day, you know, what happens is, and I wish I could show you the intraday, but what happens is the stock starts getting some momentum. It starts moving up, and you know, maybe it's on the watch list for the furu. And once it breaks 250 above some of this resistance, they put in an order for 5,000 shares. Then they alert the room, hey, I'm long at 250, 5,000 shares. The stock is already starting to run up. You want to get a piece of the action because you have FOMO and you don't have your emotions under control. So you end up buying here at 350. So the furu's already made 1 point. They're starting to dump some of their shares into all of the chat room that's buying in, squeezes the stock up to 650. By the time it even gets to 6, he's probably dumped all his shares. And then the stock just comes flying right back down. And half the chat room, or the majority of the chat room, ends up, they're buying along the run up. The stock plummets. They end up getting stopped out for a loss or selling for a loss. And then they're looking around going, asking the furu, hey, what did I do wrong? And it's not that you did anything wrong. I mean, yes, you should have never chased it. But the point is that the chat room, you know, we call them sheep, or, you know, you hear the terminology sheep or pigs. It means you'll basically become a sheep. You've helped pad the wallet of that furu. They set alert. They buy early. They're not telling you when they're selling. And then they tell you like their last piece they sold, their exit. Oh, you know, my exit was $6. Well, they didn't tell you they were dumping 1,000 shares at a time on the way up. As you're buying in, you're basically buying their shares and padding their wallet. And the only one getting rich in the room is the furu. And yet they've taught you nothing. So, you know, if you're in that kind of chat room, it's okay. You can still learn from them. Learn what their setup is. Learn what knowledge you can from them. Just don't chase their alerts. Don't ever chase their alerts. You know, if somebody is alerting live, you know, it's different in awesome calls when AJ does it, or Dave the Trader, or Spartan, or somebody yells out an alert. They're telling you why the stock's running up, and they're not in it yet. They're just telling you, hey, this stock has FDA approval. This stock has merger news. This stock just breaking news. You know, whatever. They have Buffett's investing in them. Whatever, and then, you know, and then we can assess. But nobody forces us to pull the trigger, and nobody forces you to pull the trigger. So make good decisions. If you're in a chat room, just learn as much as you can, and try to join other rooms to learn as much as you can. Understand how they build their watch list, what kind of setups they look for, what is their risk reward, how do they determine it's a good play. And then the last thing is expand your learning. Never stop learning. Continue to follow other people on Twitter, on YouTube. Ask a bunch of questions, as many as you can, and get as many responses as you can. You know, read books, watch CNBC. I remember when I first started, people told me, you know, hey, don't watch CNBC. It's, you know, those guys are idiots. I completely disagree. I think it was bad advice because I'm not following them for stock picks. I'm following them to learn the market. And there's a ton you can learn just by watching CNBC because they have great guests. They have professional traders. They have analysts. They have the CEOs of these companies talking about their company. You can learn a ton just by listening. You don't have to take a single trade. I'm not following their trades. They're long-term investors. I'm a day trader, so I'm not going to follow their alerts. But if they do point out something that looks interesting, I will take a look at it. But you can learn a ton just from watching. I learned a lot from that. I watch a ton of different just stock or business related channels. I read a lot of books. I read a ton of articles. I'm constantly studying. If I'm not trading, I'm studying. I'm doing something to improve myself. And never stop, because the more you do, the quicker your learning curve will be. And there's tons of great information out there, as well as the people that are successful or have a quicker rise to success, or whatever you want to call it, their learning curve is shorter. Most of those people, when you look back on them, they weren't focused on the money in the beginning. They were just focused on learning. They were focused on the setups, the charts, and it was more of like a math equation to them, or it was more of a learning experience. It wasn't about the money. And I find that, maybe it's because they came from a little bit of a better, wealthier background, I guess. There's a couple people that come right to mind, and I think about their lifestyle. I mean, they were very well off, so to them it wasn't about the money, but it just shows that when you're not focused on the money, you're actually focused on the process. It goes much quicker because you're just trying to learn the charts and the setups. You're not worried about your P&L. And if you're newer, just getting into trading, that's the best advice I could give you. So I hope that helps. I wish more people would talk about this. I wish people would help set the proper expectations, especially for new traders, and help teach them the proper mindset. And if you like this and you know somebody else who's struggling or somebody that's newer, please share the video. I hope these few tips will help them. If there's other videos or comments, comment in the section of videos you'd like to see. Please like and share, and we'll see you soon.